We at Tollygunge Club are delighted to welcome Mr. Vineet Goyal, Commissioner of Police, Kolkata, who is going to be in conversation with Mr. Avijit Nandi Majumdar, our own member, and talking about the policing of the city of joy, that's Calcutta. Mr. Goyal is a 1994 batch IPS officer, a technocrat essentially, who has got a background from IIT Kharagpur, is BTech, and an MTech from IIT Kanpur, which is indeed a large amount of qualification. He has been the Director of Security in Kolkata. He's also been the ADG of the Special Task Force, STF, both very prized appointments and designations, in which he has, so to speak, outshone himself. He brings to us his experience. He is a master, so to speak, of cybercrime and traffic management in the city that is Kolkata. Without taking much time, I'm going to request the President to come and say a few words before we start off the proceedings.
It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to this interactive session of Policing the City of Joy. We are honored to have with us today the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Vineet Goyal, sir, who will share the insights and experiences on the challenges faced by the Kolkata Police in maintaining law and order in one of India's most vibrant and culturally rich cities. You all know, where's Avijit? You all know Avijit Nandi Majumdar of A&M News, who is our member and who is going to lead the engagement. Kolkata is a city that pulsates with energy, and it is also a city that presents unique challenges to law enforcement agencies. The Kolkata Police is at the forefront of efforts to maintain peace, security, stability in the city, and their work is critical to ensuring that the citizens of Kolkata go about their daily lives without fear. Through this session, we hope to gain a better understanding of the innovative approaches adopted by the Kolkata Police in dealing with the complex issues such as cybercrime, women's safety, and terrorism. We also look forward to hearing from Mr. Goyal on the importance of community policing and their efforts to foster greater trust and cooperation between the police and the people they serve. I'm confident that this session will be informative and engaging, and I encourage all of you to participate actively in the discussion. Once again, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guests, and I look forward to an enriching and enlightening session. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this. Thank you.
May I now invite Mr. Goyal and Mr. Avijit Nandi Majumdar to the stage.
Good evening, everybody, and profound apologies for starting half an hour late. I take it upon myself because I know time and everything is very, very important. So please bear with me, bear with us, bear with the members, bear with Mr. Goyal. Vineet Goyal has been an outstanding police officer. I just ran you through a little bit of his background before I initiate the session. I've seen him when he was Additional SP Howrah, and since then he has climbed up the ladders. He has been Commissioner of Police of Asansol Durgapur, where he has excelled himself. He was in the STF as an ADG, where he sorted out an interstate crime, as well as he's now the Commissioner of Police, Kolkata. A technocrat, a man with immense and intense knowledge of technology. He loves everything about technology. He's a man of technology. So on behalf of Tollygunge Club, we welcome Vineet Goyal in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We start off with the city of Kolkata. Now, it's a huge challenge, the police, the city of Kolkata, the city of joy. Basically, as warming you up, what is the big challenge that you find in Kolkata police today as you police the city?
Well, professionally, Calcutta Police has been one of the most professional police forces in the country. And I'm saying so because of the statistics over a period of time say so. Uh, Whether you talk about crime, whether recent report about of NCRB where Calcutta was declared as the safest city for not just this year but for several years before this. In terms of traffic management, I think the kind of feedback which I get from most people around that our sergeants are one of the most efficient. The signaling system is one of the most efficient, and there's certification to this by none other than the Google people. Actually, we are working with Google people to further optimize our traffic signaling system. And they said they have been to other cities in the country, and they said that we have not seen something like this anywhere else in the country. So, but besides this, I think traditional crime is absolutely under control. The last about 15 months since I've been here, there's not even a single important crime which we have not been able to crack. So that's a big feat, and this is the team effort. The people in Calcutta police, the detective department, the police stations, they have been extremely competent to deal with the traditional crime. But now, slowly, things are, the new age crime, that is the digital crime. So that is again, we have very professional, very competent set of officers who are dealing with the cyber crime, as we call it. But of course, the volume and the globalization makes it a little more difficult to crack each and every case. And I think there are certain delays, lack of awareness amongst the people regarding the cybercrime related issues, etc. And that is where I think this is one of the areas where we find that it is a bit of a challenge. But I think our officers are absolutely competent. Our teams are great. We are trying to create the kind of necessary awareness amongst the people, and I'm sure we would do better and better in times to come.
So we take off on traffic. So basically, what people generally feel, the feedback that you are getting, that you have this barricades and various parts of the road. Many a time, even during the day, of course, during the night it's known as the Naka checking, but even during the day, and where it is unmanned, most of the barricades are unmanned. We often find barricades unmanned. Even in front of Tollygunge Club, there is a barricade which is unmanned. So do you feel this? I mean, they unnecessarily slows down traffic and pose a threat to accidents. So, is there a way that what is this barricades are for, and is there a way that we can this can be withdrawn or something, or some system in place?
Well, uh, uh, I have worked in traffic as Joint CP Traffic, Additional Commissioner of Police, and now the Commissioner of Police. And the teams which I worked with, I have not come across even a single instant where there has been an accident because of the these barricades. Uh, Now we have, the retro-reflective signboards on it, go slow, basically to make people aware that because we have, the jaywalking, etc. There are issues in the city, not that the traffic doesn't happen just like that. So just to make sure that the accidents do not take place, that is something which officers do, and they do it, after a study. And everything which we do here, we do it after, you know, uh, 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 after some data, kind of accident which might have taken place, speed with which people have been driving their vehicles. We need to slow down the particular speed of vehicles in that particular stretch of the road. And that is where these barricades are basically placed to slow down the traffic. So, and they have been immensely helpful. They have been, you know, you may not find it in other cities, maybe the Western countries and things like this. But if you look at our road traffic accident data, then it has been consistently improving. So, in fact, last year we had just about 185 fatalities in the city of Calcutta. Now, it would match with the fatalities in similar cities globally. Here in India, I think we are doing way better in terms of road traffic accidents as far as the cities, metropolitan cities are concerned. But I'm just trying to look at globally, like what is happening in maybe other cities in the world. London or New York or Los Angeles or things like this. Even in that case, you would find if you see per lakh population, the number of fatalities, we here in Calcutta are doing better than them. But of course, some of the cities like, Tokyo or Singapore or Abu Dhabi, I think they do the best. Our data is about, I think it's about, theirs is about zero point 0.7. Maybe Japan would be 1.2, 1.3 fatalities per lakh population. Ours would be somewhere around 2 fatalities per lakh population. So we're doing reasonably well as far as that is concerned. And there have not been any data to suggest that these particular barricades have actually resulted in road traffic accidents. They're basically meant to slow down the traffic, and they've been fairly successful. Well, it might be a very crude way of slowing down the traffic. It may not look the best way, but given the kind of jaywalking, etc., which happens in the city, this appears to be at present the most effective way. But we are trying to work around this particular problem in multiple ways. For example, we are trying to have boom barriers, and I think you would see in next few months boom barriers coming at various intersections. So that is where we plan to control jaywalking. Maybe places where the median barriers, etc., are not there. I think we would request the corporation, the authorities, to put those median barriers wherever it's possible. And that is where we try and control jaywalking. And that will further reduce the number of road traffic accidents in the city, because the data suggests today that almost about 40 to 45% of the fatalities of pedestrians. So if we can actually bring down or we can provide safe crossover for these pedestrians, I think our record in terms of road traffic accidents and fatalities would match the best in the world. So not about India. So that's something which we are targeting, and I'm sure in times to come we will do that. We will do.
So jaywalking is a major problem, definitely, because when you drive on the road, you often find people coming in all of a sudden, which gives rise to accidents, threat of accidents. So apart from putting in mean barriers, do you have any other process or methods to stop jaywalking?
So that one is a regulation, okay. But if you have so many people trying to cross over the road as part of their requirement, need, then it becomes a bit of a challenge. And then lack of awareness is there. It will happen, but it will happen with time. It may not happen overnight. And that is where I told you just now that what we are trying to do is, in fact, when I was additional commissioner of police, we did an experiment at Exide Crossing. Though the experiment failed, but we learned lessons from there. We had put, automated boom barriers, which were synchronized with the signaling system. So whenever the signal went red for the vehicles, the boom barrier will open up and the pedestrians were supposed to cross over. But actually, we put it at a very important junction, and where far too many pedestrians were there, and actually that is where it failed. So learning from that, we would possibly do a manual boom barriers, where we can manually operate this, and we first will try at not so not so important junctions where the crossovers is far too high, the volume of pedestrian crossover is very, very high, maybe a little less comparatively somewhere in the middle, and we'll see. Our experience has been pretty good. I think Park Street crossing, you see, JL Nehru Park Street crossing, I think it's fairly well organized. So this is something which we plan to do at multiple places. If it happens successfully, then I'm sure not only the accidents will come down, the jaywalking problem will also come down.
Absolutely. Drawing a lead from there, this drunken driving, as there's been a lot of a little bit of a confusion over drunken driving, because initially a circular was given to all clubs and all restaurants that you need to put in you have to have the machine on, and your members need to kind of put in and ensure that you are not above a certain limit, above a certain mark before you go out. So was that a mandate? Was that compulsory? And B, what is your take on that? Because Calcutta police have been carrying out a lot of drive against drunken driving. So what is your opinion on that at the moment?
So again, these steps which we take, they are supported by data. As I say, we don't take whimsical steps. Now, over a period of time, you see the number of checkpoints in the night where drunken driving is being checked. Uh, I think we have about 50 checkpoints in the city every night. And that has given significant results to us. People are far more cautious. There are less number of people who are doing drunken driving. And we find the road traffic accident. There is a big improvement in number of road traffic accident because of this. Now, we get a feedback from people that, of course, they are inconvenienced. There could be some queues somewhere where people are being checked, and obviously it's not liked by a lot of people. Now, the objectives of the traffic management or traffic regulations are not enforcement for uh, earning revenue. It's not one of the objectives of maybe the traffic enforcement. Our objective is to bring compliance with the law. So if people are complying with the law, we are happy. Even if we don't get even a single rupee fine, we would be extremely happy if people are absolutely compliant with the law. Now, there have been cases where people are non-compliant, they are indulging in drunken driving, over speeding, and things like this. That is where the enforcement issues come, because this results in reckless driving, accidents, and many other things. Now, because of this, we had thought of making restaurants, aware of this fact that people who are drinking, bars and restaurants where the drinks are being served, that you can have these machines installed and let these people who are driving you also have a uh, uh, you also have some kind of uh, the limit parameters that if you want to drive after drinking, then the 30 milligrams per 100 milliliter of blood, that is what it is there, and what is the machine showing. If you are showing taking a printout, then that is something which now you are good to drive. So that is something which we wanted, so that people are not unnecessarily inconvenienced. They don't know. I just had one pint of beer or something like that, and why I am being harassed and things like this. So these instances can be avoided in that case. And apart from this, in fact, I had this idea that if they are carrying that slip, if they can take a printout and they're carrying a slip and they show it at the Naka point, and if there is a reasonable, it is done, it has been taken just before this person has left the place, the bar or whatever it is, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Now the sergeant or officer who is there at the Naka checkpoint, he can use his discretion and allow this person not to be checked, because so much easier. He knows that this guy has checked himself. He doesn't have the sufficient, he doesn't need to be checked again. He may or may not. That discretion is lies with this. But I think not many people can avoid the hassles of having to go through the checking process if this particular mechanism is put in place. So we didn't want to make it mandatory, but we wanted that more and more restaurants and bars, they adopt to this particular practice, where people can themselves volunteer, check for themselves, and then decide for themselves whether to drive or not to drive. So that is what was the basic idea behind this.
So in that case, the machine very expensive and the machine very difficult to operate?
It's absolutely a very simple machine, a very inexpensive machine, especially for bars and restaurants and clubs. It's just about 40 to 50,000 bucks. Not very expensive. You just blow. There's a straw. You just blow air into the straw. It gives you a reading straight away. You can take a printout if there's a printer attached to this, and you're good to go. And obviously, for blowing, the straw is inexpensive. There's no operating cost in it. You can just you can have keep a few straws there, and people can just pick up a new straw and blow it. and then again do it. So it's absolutely inexpensive.
I wanted little details on that because I drive myself. Not saying that I drink and drive, but I drive. Anyway, so coming to another aspect of trafficking is that we often see rogue bikers on road, and they zip zap zoo past you. And if if you are driving a four-wheeler and your vehicle just touches a bike, then you are asking for trouble. So in that case, is the Calcutta police, what kind of clampdown on these rogue bikers are you planning, or what kind of clampdown have you done so far?
Well, I think we have the largest presence of traffic policemen on roads at any point of time, not just in India, but anywhere in the world. I don't think any other city anywhere in the world would have as much presence of traffic police personnel on the roads as much anybody else would have. So, with this and equipped with the contactless uh, prosecution, we might not even be intercepting a vehicle, but the prosecution would still be issued to him through various kind of, whether it's a RLVD camera or it is a speed camera or it is if he's not wearing a helmet, then somebody is watching back at the control room or the AI systems which will sort of immediately notice this and prosecute that person. So this is what is happening. Now, habits take a bit of time to change, but they are changing. I must tell you that the habits are changing slowly, and we seeing it in the number of prosecutions which are happening now are far less compared to what used to happen earlier. So, despite the fact that we have multiple speed cameras, we have almost about 100 speed cameras in the city. There are about 70 odd speed crossings where we have RLVD, these things. We have almost about 3,000 cameras in throughout the city, where we have CCTV cameras, where the live feed is coming to our control room, and there are large number of people watching it, monitoring it, and then issuing prosecutions. So, despite the fact that we have improved our infrastructure, the number of prosecutions have come down. It only indicates the fact that people are becoming compliant. Now, if you look at number of people wearing helmets, if you see about 4, 5, 6 years back, I think the number of people wearing helmets were far too few. Now today, today's statistics is overall in the city of Calcutta, there about 95% of the people wear helmets who ride two-wheelers. Now that's a big number. And if you look at some of the major corridors, you would hardly find a person without a helmet. So that's a big jump. So that's the kind of change which is happening as far as compliance with law is concerned. And I think I'm very happy, and I think in times to come, this is going to further improve. But as you very rightly said, that there are still issues which need to be addressed, and I'm sure we will address this issue. I think Joint CP Traffic is here. DC Traffic South is also present here. Vidisha is also here. So these are the people who are there in the ground, and they face these issues on a daily basis. And they have been taking action on this. They have been observing it and trying to take measures to deal with these issues.
In such a situation, if any of common people spots something happening, this kind of rogue bikers or whatever is happening, can they report it to the police? And do you think the action will be taken?
Absolutely. In fact, uh, our app is going to be out in a couple of days or maybe a week, where we would expect people to report the violations. So we would certainly expect people to report violations. But as I told you, the kind of infrastructure we have on the roads today, where we are issuing contactless prosecutions, even if our man has not stopped a person, we would still, he would have issued a challan even without stopping him. Or the technology is such that the technology would issue a challan to him. So that's happening.
And that's a major thing, that the app is coming up and people can do report on that app about any violations taking place. So moving over to another very important aspect of cybercrime, where a lot of people are falling prey to cybercrime, despite warnings, despite awareness, but then people are duped. Do you think there's an inside hand in this? I mean, how do people get so much of personal data of an individual, and how these people are getting duped? And in such a situation, what do the victim do?
Well, data is there all over. We leave our data everywhere. So if I want to scan about you, I think I would get your photograph, your phone number, your email ID, your social Facebook ID, so much of it. So much easy for me to create a profile of Avijit Nandi Majumdar so easily. And why you? For almost each one of us. Because so much of data is available. But if you talk about personal data, lot of financial data is also available at a cost, at a price to these people in the dark world. So, you keep hearing these instances where uh, their database of this particular company has been breached. So it's Uber or Ola or big companies, even there are breaches happening in their systems as well. And then those databases are stolen and maybe it's sold to in the dark world. So on the darknet, lot of this data might be available where the people are, selling and buying this kind of stuff. So yeah, it happens. So it's a reality that what you footprints you leave on your social media page, uh, you be aware that it is available to people and they can exploit this. So I think this awareness has to be there that this is something which I would like to leave on the Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is. This is something which I would avoid doing it. So the awareness is coming. People, more and more people are learning about it. But then new technologies are coming, new applications are there, and the criminals are learning new ways of, trying to target people uh, and exploit the people's weaknesses, system weaknesses, and sort of maybe make quick bucks out of it. So yeah.
So in such a situation, what do people do? They report to the cyber police station or they report to the local police station. How do they go about it?
So one is if you fall victim to, one is you need to take precautions. What footprints you leave on the cyberspace, that is something which you need to minimize your footprints on the space. You should know that this is something which can be accessed by people, or this can be accessed only by my friends, and this is something which cannot be accessed by anybody else. So this is something which you need to decide, something for your financial transactions, your maybe the passwords, PIN numbers, credit card details, all these things, I think they are things which you need to keep with yourself. So that is not something which needs to be shared with anybody. So this is an awareness which need to come to most people. The second is the people have been, exploited using different techniques where they sort of exploit people for their greed or sometimes, their fears that if this information is shared with my friends, family, then I'll be, it would be shameful for me. He may not have done anything. These extortion kind of crimes, which are there now, people sort of, somebody might call and maybe a video call or something like this. He might have sort of not even spoken to them, but they might have his profile picture from the WhatsApp and things like this, and off that particular picture, put some lady's picture and maybe give him a threat, send him a photograph and say that this is something which I have of yours. If you don't do this, pay me this, then I will circulate it to your friends and this thing. Now, if you look at why this guy is doing this, he is doing this to make some money. He is trying to do for extortion. Now, many people think that I pay off 10,000 or 20,000 bucks. It's not a big deal for me, but at least I'll get rid of this fellow. Now, this is not going to end here. Once he's found out that this guy has paid me 20,000 bucks, he'll ask you more. In what disguise? CBI inspector or this person or that person or this law enforcement agency? It could be any pretext. But it is not going to end here. So this is something which you have to be aware of, and that is where you need to report to the police. You need to take some guidance from the people. And not be fearful of the fact that, yeah, something like this has happened, you need to share. Since you have not done anything, why should you should be scared of this? Go and tell the police that this is something somebody is trying to blackmail me. It is a sheer blackmail. and immediately talk to the police, and they will at least guide you. This is what you need to do. That you don't need to pay first. You give us the number from which you have received the photograph, mock photograph, or pictures, or calls, or whatever it is. Now, the police would try and investigate and trying to figure out that who this guy. In most cases, these are MOF number. These are not the identity is not the real identity of those people. If you go back to this particular number and things like this, but then police has its own ways to figure out. I'm not saying that we are able to 100% successfully find out the culprits behind it, but in a fairly good number of cases, we do find the people behind it. Large number of people are behind bars because of this. So I think people have to come forward and report to the police. So that is something which I would like. Now, for reporting the police, we have the police stations. That's the immediate thing. You have a cyber portal run by the government of India as well. You have cyber cells which are there with every division here. All 9 divisions have their own cyber cells. Very, very competent to handle any of these crimes, because most of these crimes are basically social engineering crime. They are trying to trick you to believe what they are trying to say and use your fears or weaknesses to basically extort money out of you. So this is something you can immediately report to this thing. And I think if you become a victim of it, then the time factor is very, very important. If you delay it, you may not get your money back. But if you immediately bring it to our notice, because ultimately the money moves very fast. Nowadays with UPI, etc., instant transfer of money, movement of money has become very, very fast. So they move this money in one way or other in a very, very fast manner through mule accounts. So they are not also real accounts, they are all mule accounts. And you actually can mail it to multiple places, maybe with the police station, the cyber cell of the division, and also the cyber police station. So there are multiple places where you can actually report this kind of crime. We have our website where you can report our cyber crime, specifically a cyber crime as well. So if you report, I think and I think sometimes it so happens that you can follow it up with the concerned officer, the police station, or the cyber cell. It will go a long way in detecting the crime and also getting your money back.
So, as the cyber cell, as you mentioned just now, is available in all the 9 divisions as well as at the Lal Bazaar, the DC cyber cell there. So, to report them, you can either go to the cyber cell or you can run a complaint over the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. So at least the information part, there should not be delay in reporting. That's something which is very, very critical in these kind of cases. But as very right, as I said, that the money moves very fast. So if we need to block this money, we need to find that particular account where the money has gone before it moves to another account or it is withdrawn from an ATM machine. So this movement happens very, very quick. So if you report immediately, the moment you get a message that money has been withdrawn from your account, now you don't know why this money has been withdrawn, who has withdrawn this money, and immediately, since you have not done a willing transaction, then this is an unauthorized transaction. So you should immediately report to the bank. Your bank, you should also immediately report to the cyber cell.
Is there a chance of money getting back the money?
We do. There are almost 20% of the people who bring it to our notice. If you are reporting it, almost about 80 to 100% of the people get their money back, immediate ones. But if there is a delay of more than 2, 3, 4 days, then there's very little chance that you'll get the money back. So many a times, people think over it, or they don't know what exactly to do in these kind of cases. Maybe try to consult people, waste a bit of time as far as this is concerned, and that is where this delay is very, very costly, because the money has already moved, and through all these mule accounts, very difficult to trace, because the real identity of people behind these accounts is not known.
Moving over to another section, when supposing an incident takes place, people, when you're moving around, you're snatching, incident of snatching or anything takes place on a road, and you're not aware of which jurisdiction this police station is, then what do you do? Do you go to the nearest police station and report? Do you go to the nearest police personnel and report? What is the procedure then if an incident takes place on the road where you are not aware of the jurisdiction?
Okay. Well, to solve this problem, we have actually developed a small application which is there on our website where know your police station. So if you put your local coordinates, then you would know which police station does this particular coordinate belong to. But not getting into this, the best thing is to first if you know a nearby police station, then go and tell them that this is what has happened with me and I would like an immediate action to this. So that should be good enough. In case it is a very serious issue, then I think that I'm sure that particular police station would understand it and take immediate action. If it is not a very, very serious issue and maybe an hour or two loss may not be very, very costly, then they may also refer you to the actual police station where this case needs to be registered, because as per the CRPC, the PO, if jurisdictional issues do come in, so many a times, but in case of a continuous offense, these, I think jurisdictional issues, like it could be at the place of origin or at the place of destination or even in transit as well. So I think this is a little fluid kind of a situation.
So you can go to the nearest police station and report, and they're definitely going to help you. So coming to another aspect before I push to open up to the audience, is that there are many a times people complain that they go to a police station that the officer concerned is not willing to take an FIR or take a complaint, and then borders on harassment of the individual. In such cases, what should the victim do?
Uh, well, if the police station is not taking a legal FIR, then best thing is to report to a supervisory officer, that is the divisional commissioner, or send a mail to maybe the supervisory officers. So that list of supervisory officers is available on our website. So, and mail IDs are there, their phone numbers are there. So they can send a mail to the supervisory officers that this is what has happened. From our side, we keep sending decoys this problem to deal with this particular problem, so that we also know that to what extent this problem exists, and we can bring it to the notice of the officer in charge of the police stations that some of the officers are trying to avoid taking FIRs. So if something like this happens, I think the best thing to report to the senior supervisory officers.
So I'll open it up to the audience for questions, with a small request that please do not have any political questions for him. I'll request Volunteer Munmun. Sir, please identify yourself and.
My name is Jagpal Singh. My membership number is S498. My wife sitting here wants me to convey that it has never happened before that the police have actually helped students reach their examination centers in time when they were getting late. So she wants me to compliment the commissioner on this wonderful gesture.
Thank you.
I have two more points, One is that we used to have a lot of problem. We live on Lotsena Road. On Lower Circular Road, these bikers without helmets, 3, used to harass us, there were hordes of them, passing remarks, stopping us. That has now stopped. For that also I must compliment the Commissioner. And the third thing is that I played tennis in Saturday Club. And in the morning, we just couldn't get out of the club because there were a cluster of schools, La Martiniere, Birla, Sushila Birla, Sindeville. It was jammed. Now the commissioner has done something very simple but brilliant. He has stopped parking in that area. And now there's no jam, it's all clear. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for these observations. But as I said that things are changing, not just because of me or people. These people have been working consistently, the team people have been working consistently over a period of time, and things are changing. I think there was huge resistance to the removal of parking from those areas. And, but now I think everybody loves it. Now the kind of traffic jams which we used to see around Lamas, it was a nightmare for us, for parents, for children, and for the local residents. They couldn't get into those areas. But I think now things have improved to a very large extent. And I'm sure in times to come, they would further improve. But I think there's a very small thing which we need to do. Uh, I think we need to, at least other cities have it, where school bus concept exists. But Calcutta doesn't have the concept of school bus, where 40 or 50 people travel together. They socialize, they tend to interact with each other, and there's little pressure on the road. I think that's something, if that comes to this city as well, I think we would do so much better. So that's something which we are trying to do. Of course, people have their apprehensions regarding safety, security of children, but now with technology around, I think there are so much beautiful solutions around this using technology that I think safety is not an issue anymore. And the bigger the vehicle you drive on the road, it's so much more secure. So the buses are more secure. If you see the accident data, the buses are basically the number of people, getting injured in road traffic accidents while traveling buses, etc., is very, very small. The cars are bigger, and the more number of people are getting injured, and the two-wheelers, about 25% of fatalities come from two-wheelers. So this is how it happens. So that is where I think the city also has to think in the direction where we need to have school buses concept, especially for areas where we have congestion around.
Yeah, but then that needs to be, you need to convince the school authorities to put in the
Schools
school
are
bus.
convinced. The parents have to be convinced. The city has to be convinced. City has to understand the benefits of this. It's not about this city. It's about what's happening around the world. So whether you talk about New York or Singapore or anything else, it's very rare that people travel in their private vehicles to drop their children to the school. The school buses which actually take children to the schools.
Good evening, Mr. Goyal. It's a privilege to have this opportunity to interact with you, and it was a pleasure listening to you about some of these problems that we face. I have a small correction to make, if you don't mind. Yeah, of course. And that is that there have been accidents at the barriers, police barriers, and right from the horse's mouth. I have actually banged into one of the barriers, not me, my driver. It was a major accident at Science City. This was a cold, misty morning in the winter, and the driver went right through the barrier and severely damaging the car. Fortunately, there were no fatalities. I think a small little lamp or something, fog light, yellow or something like that, probably could have saved this situation. So there are problems, and I'm sure that some have had, they have banged into barriers and damaged their cars or inflicted injuries on themselves. But it's probably not recorded. This one was recorded at Science City. But just to...
Okay, thank you. I was not aware of this, but good input. And that is where I think the officers are listening.
And if you go to that police station
can...
there, you will find that there are a number of cars which have been damaged. And they say that this damage has occurred while trying to maneuver through these barricades. Okay. So anyway, that's just for your information. The question I had was, and Avijit, my friend, alluded to it. And the question is regarding complaints which have to be lodged at the police station and the complications that are involved. I must tell you that I have personal experience where if there's a complaint and you go to the police station and try to lodge a complaint, they will first try and avoid and somehow or the other persuade you or sometimes coerce you not to file, not to insist on an FIR. Then after a lot of discussion, etc., they say file a GD. Now a GD is a GD, not much importance is attached to it. I don't know what even happens to these GDs, right? So that's a second stage at which they dissuade you and try their best to, I'm not generalizing, but this is an experience. So they try to dissuade you from filing a GD, putting any on paper. I'll give you a personal, I will give you an example, which I have personal knowledge of, where, in fact, the GD, they said that the GD has been recorded written after listening to you, but when you ask for the GD, they never let you read it, or they never give you the GD a copy of what the complaint is and how they have seen it, etc. Only thing that is given to you is a piece of paper with a number on it and a stamp, and say this will meet all your requirements, now buzz off. So there is this problem. And the third one, if everything fails, there's another one. There's another barrier. Which barrier is, they bring in the issue of civil case and police case. They say, in the sense they say, this is a civil matter. You have to go to court, we can't do anything. Yes, it may be so, but the fact is, arising out of that civil case, there is something happened which is of a criminal nature. Right? But since it's a civil case, go to the court, don't come to us, go to your lawyer, and that gets completely ignored. So I think there is a bit of a gray area there. And some clarification has to be brought in terms of procedure and your rights. So if you want to file an FIR, either is it true that they have to take it down as an FIR or no? All right, if it's no, it's no. Then it's a different matter. Second, what is this business between I'm going to the police station, I'm not going to the court? So if you say it's a civil matter, I can't do it. For example, if it's a house matter, and somebody has come to beat you up, and you say this is a civil matter, and it cannot be, you can't have any complaint filed with the police station. I think that probably is stretching the law a bit. So that's the second one. And third one is bit of futuristics. From you, what you said, and indeed it's true, that you have a lot of raw data coming in, plenty of raw data. And it is humanly impossible to collate all that data. So you must be having a section or a department which goes into big data analysis and so on and so forth, and you must be having your own. But I would like to say that, going along with the move, that you keep on making it more contemporary and, keep contemporizing everything. The control area, in the traffic control area, probably, it's begging an opportunity for introduction of AI. So you said that there are applications of AI which you use, but I think just control. I mean, even if the input from the AI is given to the traffic lights, then probably there is some amount of control which does not require, 100%, what do you say, 100% attendance on that particular area, that particular light system or whatever it is. So I think applications of AI must now probably be thought about. And the last one is a horrific one, which is that you must be also thinking of engaging choppers and so on and so forth at peak traffic times, and to give you information, give the control room information of where something is, a snarl is going to happen, or somewhere it has happened and how it's happened. There are hundreds of what you call the Mitchells and processions and so on and so forth. And probably there's a forewarning possible if you use those. But I know that it's all right to say that, but it's difficult to walk the talk because expenses and all that, there are considerable expenses concerned. But choppers, even small ones, just maintaining surveillance may help. You may like to think about it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for your observations. Regarding FIRs, I say there could be systemic problems, and as I said that we also send decoys, we do keep getting complaints to try and improve this behavior at the police station level. Now, the complaints are, categorized in different categories. The complaints which fall under the category of cognizable offense. There are complaints which fall in the category of non-cognizable offense. Now, if it is a non-cognizable offense, which is there clearly in the CRPC, then you can't have a FIR filed on it. So the court permission is required before the investigation can start in that kind of complaint. So this is a bit of a gradation which exists. And as you said about civil and criminal cases, etc., yeah, these issues do happen. And, you also know it for sure that, many complaints do come for settling scores and things like this. So if somebody can go to the police station and surprise you with some kind of a complaint, and for every complaint which a police station starts taking, I think lot many victims will come in. So I'm not saying that, but they are supposed to take complaints. Otherwise, the officer in charge is supposed to give a reason for not taking the complaints. So officer in charge, as per the CRPC itself, they did not take every complaint and file an FIR as far as that is concerned. So this is the first part of it. The second part of it, whether we need to man all traffic junctions. Now, as I said when I was interacting with Avijit, that we have the maximum traffic police presence as far as city is concerned. He was talking about, reckless driving by two-wheelers and things like this in the city that is to contain this. If you look at today, the intersections mostly are running on auto mode. Most intersections. It's only during some processions and things like this when we are having to interfere as far as our signaling system is concerned. So from the control room itself, we know we can monitor, we can modify our signaling scheme. So all these things, we don't need to go right at the spot to actually do anything. We actually can even take away the right from the officer or person who is manning that particular traffic intersection of making it automatic or manual. So the system exists, but there are practical problems. The green light for ambulances and so many other issues, challenges do exist. So VIPs is also there. If so, they're this thing. But if you look at it, in fact, we very closely monitor this particular issue, and in any given day, there are not many signals, maybe 2, 3, 4 signals on a given day which would go to manual if there are no rallies. Maybe there were 5, 6, 10 signals maybe when the rallies are around the city. And that is only for that period when the rallies are around. And very good observation from your end that this has given us major benefits. That's my personal feeling, and not just my feeling, but the team feeling of the team as well, where the system, they are running systematically in automatic mode. That is where I said that we are working with Google for further optimization of the signals. So that is the second part of it. The third part of it, you mentioned about maybe the helicopters or drones and things like this to monitor the traffic situation. We have practically everywhere in the city. We have right now 3,000 our own cameras which are giving live feeds to our control room. So every junction is covered. And not just one side, all 4 sides. So they know what's happening where. Coupled with this, you have the Google traffic map view. You know what, the moment there is a congestion, you get to know. And the third part is we have people on the ground. They also know that this is where the congestion is happening. Now, predicting congestions, etc., yeah, we do. In fact, we do send out advisories. If you're following our Calcutta Traffic Police page, Facebook page on a regular basis, or Twitter, then they send out advisories every morning. And they specify these are the rallies, these are the times, these are the places where the congestion is likely to be there, and these are the alternate routes you should adopt. So this is already happening to the extent that I think we interact with Google very closely, and we tell them as well that this is what is going to, for example, the matches in the IPL, Eden Gardens. So the scheme is well laid out. And, they actually, for example, from this time to this time, the Kingsway
there would not be traffic allowed in this particular road. Or so all these issues, the Google will take care of this as well. So people who tend to use Google, so they would basically have a fairly good idea about what's happening where. So Google traffic gives you a lot of information where all these things are automatically taken care of. So I don't know how choppers would be helpful in monitoring congestion areas. We already have reasonably good systems which respond reasonably well in a reasonably good time to give us the requisite information to take necessary steps, inform people, etc.
So he was mentioning about forewarning. Like supposing you are on the road and suddenly a congestion comes up in front, and sudden congestion comes up in front which delays you. So he was mentioning, is there a system in place where you can know that there is a congestion right there and you can get a diversion and go to a location in a faster time?
That's exactly what I said. You have men at the ground, you have cameras there, you have Google. Google is a crowdsourced information. They are not watching through satellites. It's your mobile phones which are transmitting information to Google, and Google is basically coming up, this is a red corridor. This is where the traffic is moving very slowly. So these three together, and we use all three of them, and very nicely. And I think with excellent outcomes as far as this is concerned. Our guys are absolutely efficient, and that is where I tell you that despite the fact that we have such narrow lanes, we just have about 6% of the area as compared to 20% of Delhi for the roads, we have almost about 19 to 20 kilometers per hour during the peak hours. That is the average speed of traffic in the city of Calcutta and during peak hours. So that speaks volumes about the kind of care people have been taking as far as this is concerned.
The gentleman has been raising his hand for a long time.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining Tollygunge Club. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
I have not joined it yet.
Mr. Vineet Goyal. First of all, it was heartening to know that a lot of steps have been initiated, and we hope, as you confirm, that with the digital age, there'll be apps and other systems which will take care of our needs when in real need. I just want to share one experience and also ask you a question, take your views. Recently, in my locality, there was a stone throwing incident, and it could have been fatal. So, people were reluctant, the guards were reluctant, the community guards, because they don't want to really get into any tussle with these guys. And it was on Holy Day, the day of Dol Jatra, evening. So, since I was traveling out of Calcutta, I couldn't go and make a FIR that day, but I made a call to the contact officer. And it was really great that he took a note and he said, you come back and, make your complaint. So when I returned after 2-3 days, I came back and made a complaint. When I went to the police station first, I won't name because my experience was good. The initial reaction was that, kyun mara jayni to? Mane tahle keno? So I said, na mara jayni, mara gele ki apni khushi hoten. So jai ho. So then I said, I want to make a FIR. It's after a long time I'm coming to the police station. So tell me what I need to do. So he looked at me and he was ignoring me. So I stayed on. I said, I spoke to the gentleman. I would like to meet him. So I waited there for about half an hour, 45 minutes. And I met the gentleman I spoke to. He was the additional officer in charge, which I later discovered. And the behavior was totally different, professional. And I never expected, him to listen to me with the way he addressed. And as per his advice, I made the GD. There's an investigation going on. So that was really pleasing. But in the front line, the experience was not very pleasing. The other thing which I wanted to share, it's probably public is also responsible. We have our traffic lights. I returned to India in 2022 permanently. And I've seen that there's a tendency that before the traffic lights goes green, everyone rushes out, especially the autos and the bikers. They don't wait. And they also don't stop at the, the zebra crossing. Before that, they are supposed to stop, and they go in advance. And I asked the police officers, why do you do it, especially the junior officers in the crossing where I stay. And they said, sir, it is a major problem. Kojon ke shamlabo. There are rickshaws and others, but said there could be fatal. Somebody could come from the other way and there could be a death case. What do you do about it? Apnara janan lal bajare. So this is something I wanted to share. And the third thing is, which is of course the last observation, is that in critical places like in Gold Park, on the roundabout, you have vehicles which narrows down the outways, including police vehicles. On Anwasha Road, which is a critical road and connected to the airport, you have, especially after Navina Cinema, half the road is occupied by the bikers, vehicles. They are doing a workshop on the road. And especially Garia to Tollygunge Tram Depot, on both sides, you have now, shops and these things, hardware shops, where you will have carts and all kinds of rickshaws and cycle vans, which makes the road half of what it is. So just wanted to bring it to your attention. I'm sure something will be done. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. But I tell you a small observation, which just about a couple of days back, one of my friends from US, the college colleague, college friend, so he had come. So he was telling me that, that it's crazy nowadays. People are stopping at traffic lights in the night as well. So that's also happening. The change is happening. So people are tending to, this is happening, and it will happen more and more. The compliance with law is happening today. And it will not, things are not changing overnight, but they will change. I'm telling you, they are changing in a big time. And this change is big time, and it's going to happen, and it's going to be permanent. So it may not be as you see in Western countries today, but maybe in next few years, it would be something like that.
Just take the mic, please.
I want to ask a small question. You see, we citizens are afraid to go to the police. The reason is that when we go to a police station, suppose I have seen an accident happening and I take a accident case to the police, they make me sit in the police station asking me, where did you find, who are you? So generally what I have seen as an experience, the citizens are not willing to go to the police station unless there is an absolute necessity for him to go. So how, sir, you will create a kind of an awareness among us citizens that police and the citizens are part of the 2 pages of a book? Because police has to help, and we have to go for, no one goes to the police station just for the sake of fun. They have some reasons to go there and complain. So some kind of awareness has to be created among the citizens that they will not be shooed off if they really go to the police, or they would not be harassed.
You're
So
talking
this
about
this is what is actually, through my small experience, I generally see that when, well, if I go to a police station, they will definitely will say, sir, you are back here. But there are some commoners who has a lot of problems. They go, the police does not really take them into consideration. So I'm talking about the general public.
you're talking about a better police public relationship.
That is a very important factor in any policing. I think, if I'm
I'll
not,
ask him to answer. Better the police public relationship.
Well, we have excellent community policing initiatives in Calcutta. For your age, I think we have this pranam. We have about 20,000 members in the city. Now, these are the people uh, who have, most of them have their children not staying with them. They are left to themselves. And we have liaison officers in every police station for them. And they interact. We have call centers. During COVID times, they were taken care of for supply of medicines, food, other items where the police stations themselves, actively participated, delivered. Uh, and they do it even during current times. They take care of the entertainment issues. Uh, uh, we organize, every division organizes some kind of a cultural program for these at a Calcutta Police level. Also, we organize several programs. Police station does on a regular basis. So that is about Pranam. We have programs for the young children. We have vocational training programs for again underprivileged children. For women, working women, we have programs for students, girl students, football tournaments. We have, the largest football tournament in the in about 800 clubs who participate in the Pada football Pada Friendship Football Cup tournament. So we have a lot of initiatives for all sections of the society. As far as what you are saying is at the police station level, the attitude of police officers, this has to change. And I'm sure what you're saying is true. It's a great observation. We also feel that this has to happen. It is happening, and it will improve further, I can assure you, as far as this is concerned. What society demands absolutely has to happen. And I think society rightly demands it. And I think people are far more courteous. Most people would come up with this kind of feedback to us. But many of people do come back to us. And that is where we do this decoy, where has a person interacted with a particular complainant. So we try and get it, and then we try and understand how the systemic problems which are there in this particular system, they can be addressed. So that is something which we are also trying to improve upon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll just take a question from ma'am there because she's been there.
Okay, I'll just ask a very quick question. First of all, I want to congratulate the Calcutta Police. Very recently, a family member was a victim of a cybercrime and got her money back in 48 hours.
Thank you.
And she didn't spend any time, waste any time in complaining, so she was full of praise. My question to you, sir, is what specific training programs do your constables and the various designations of police go through in being sensitized to women's issues, sexual harassment, domestic violence, and so on? And do you take this seriously, and how regular are those programs? And a follow-up question to that is that the gentleman there asked that, we are very privileged. We walk into a police station, we speak with confidence, we speak in a certain way, and we are taken seriously. But I do know that people who are less privileged don't get the same treatment. We all know this, that this is a reality. But is the Calcutta Police doing anything specific to treat each citizen, no matter what their financial, social, economic status, is with equal respect and dignity? So there are two questions there.
Absolutely. We need one just sec. We will also take that question from ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Shoma Swagata Basu. So this kind of an interactive session really, bolsters our confidence in the police to a certain extent. So having said that, I have 3 questions. One is that being a lady driver, apart from the rogue bikers, one issue is, with the cyclists. They just kind of sway in from everywhere and anywhere. I mean, you have to look left, right, front, back, everywhere. Because, and if you tell them something, they say, no, 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 it's okay. I mean, the green, the red doesn't matter. So they just come into your vision. If you can do something about that, that's one. Next is that this is a little bit of a personal experience because I stay in an area which is close to the Tollygunge Club, but it also adjoins a slum area. And over the last few years, what I've seen is that at the blink of an eye, there is some kind of a program that starts with the mic blaring full force. And though we have the permissible hours, it carries well into the night, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. In this regard, I need to thank your Lal Bazaar and also the Jadavpur police, the Jadavpur police station, because whenever I made a complaint, they actually helped me. But what happened was that we have to now report to this Golf Green police station, which is a new one. Not only when I complained about it, it was around 1 o'clock last year during the Kali Puja celebrations after that. When I complained, they were completely reluctant and they kept on telling me, আপনার নাম বলুন, আপনার ফোন নাম্বার দিন, আপনি কোথা থেকে বলছেন, আমরা ওইগুলো না জানলে কিচ্ছু করতে পারবো না। My question is that when I am complaining, I'm a lady, and there are a lot of old residents in the neighborhood where I stay. This should have been handled in a different manner, and I really felt threatened because some time back, when a person had reported against this and the same thing, his name was taken down, there was a backlash on him. So I kind of said that, no, I'm not going to share my information. You need to come and see. And they said, na, amra korte parbo na. So that was something that came as a damper for us. And the third thing is that whenever I land in Kolkata airport, the certain areas are cordoned off by the VIP vehicles. And many of us, like the common citizens, we face a lot of issues trying to cross, trying to come to Uber points, or trying to come to the points where our cars can come and take us. And I have seen it with my eyes, that the older citizens facing a lot of issues on this. If you can just give us a little bit of help on this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think Vidisha is listening. So she is the local DC. So she must take care of this particular issue. But
not the airport issue, because the airport issue is not under Calcutta Police jurisdiction, and that's the part that you mentioned is basically looked after by the airports authority, and the director airport is responsible for it, and the Bidhannagar police is responsible.
The other thing which I would suggest to all of you, which is a very excellent solution to these problems, is you dial 100, and I can assure you 100. And I can assure you, you will 100% get a service from it, a visit from them, who would visit you and try and solve your problem in one way or the other. So that's something which I think, I don't know if anyone of you have tried this particular service. So, and our response time is pretty good there. It's between about 6 to 7 minutes, you would have this particular vehicle visiting you. So this is something which we're trying to promote, and the citizens should make use of this particular service. So that holds true for the women's safety issues which you've spoken about. As far as training issues of women are concerned,
Constables.
Sensitization, both at the DD level, at the police station level. Now we have women police stations dedicated to this particular work, where only the women are there. You have women officer in charge of a police station, etc. So I think there's a lot of sensitization happening. We have a continuous regular training programs. We have a training academy here for Calcutta Police, which is located in Howrah part. There are programs designed to deal with this particular issue, the women sensitization issues, and the police station and the detective department, they attend to these programs on a regular basis. Yeah.
Cyclist. The one on the cyclist she mentioned.
A cyclist part, I think Joint CP traffic is there. The major roads, you are not supposed to have cycles on the road. Why not? Because we don't have dedicated cycle tracks here. They're not safe. It slows down the entire traffic. No, no, not that. But there is, there is a regulation here. There's a regulation issue here. Okay. So the cycles, you are not allowed to drive cycles where in the fast-moving corridors and the major corridors of the city. There is a notification to that effect.
If I can just add regarding what you said about dialing 100, I have done that. And so the call was when it got routed to the Jadavpur police station, they were they were very active about it. But when it came to Golf Green police station, that was the kind of response I got.
Yeah, but that will
No,
be taken.
100 does not route the call to any of the police stations. It goes to our control room. There is a call center.
Yeah, from there.
There is a call center. We have a fleet of about 60 cars to 58 cars to be precise. So these cars have the basic job of attending to these problems. The location of these cars is available at the control room and the nearest, your location and the nearest possible car location. So if it is available, that is what is sent to reduce the response time.
Sir, has been holding up hand for a long time.
My name is A.K. Mitro. My membership number is M225. I can vouch for the improvement in the traffic system in Kolkata. I'm really glad about it. But my license says that I have been driving, I still drive. I can drive up to 2026. I have been driving from 1962. The changes I've seen is, at one point, till very recently, the worst offenders in the city, as far as driving is concerned, were the police vehicles and the defense vehicles. That has reduced considerably. And in spite of the fact that traffic, the number of vehicles on the roads have multiplied manifold, traffic moves much smoother. I drive myself. Now,
Thank you. Thank you for your observation, for bringing out your driving experience for the city.
Now, if you can come to a question now.
The issue that I want to raise is, at some point in the past, the director of motor vehicles, Podopugur, decided in his wisdom that bicycles do not need to follow traffic rules. Now, so we have a system here now where you are trying, your traffic light has gone green and you are starting and suddenly a bicycle jumps in front of you from the other side. Can something be done about that?
Absolutely.
I think we will look into it. I think already a few questions have already come on this, so it has been addressed already.
Yes.
Sir, thank you. I've been actually waiting for the line, and that actually it's all because of you, and it shows that we are all so honored by your presence, and we are waiting for our turn. So I have, sir, two questions. So one is that I'm relatively new into the city, and I believe that I'm an urbanist, urban development practitioner, and from this domain, I believe that a city is safe when it is safe for a woman and a child. And that is applicable to any city, be it, we know how safe Delhi is to whatever extent it is, same as for Mumbai or Bangalore or any other city. What are the measures that, as the commissioner of Calcutta, what are you doing to, as you as a forces are doing to ensure that that Calcutta remains safe? I'm saying that it is safe. Somebody like an external person who's like a visitor to the city, I feel it is safe and compared to other metropolitan cities. But what are the continuous measures that you're doing, even in terms of surveillance, to see that this is maintained? So that is one question. Second is that a couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to visit the Mothers Convent. So while interacting with all the sisters, I got to know that there is a lot of measures that they do to basically do rehabilitation for the drug trafficking and the children who have gone through sexual violence. So we understand that is the fact in any city, that can happen. And if you talk about a metropolitan city, this is unavoidable. So how, as policing that you are doing to ensure that this is compacted and this is negated, to what extent?
Well, your first part, the city is one of the safest cities. If you see the crime statistics, general perception of the people in the city, the women's safety issue, I think we are very, very sensitive. The city is sensitive. The citizens are very sensitive, not just us. And any crime which happens relating to women, it's taken very, very aggressively as far as the police is concerned here. We have, as I said earlier, I think we have a large fleet of vehicles which are available at key points in the city, visible, and people can seek help. 100 dial is a very, very efficient service which we run here in the city. You call it 100 or 112 as well, but I think it's easy to access 100 and very, very easy. So that is something which is a fairly efficient service. We have a panic button. We have application for, that is called Bandhu app, where there is a panic button. So if you face any kind of harassment while driving, traveling, or in a Uber or Ola or taxi or public transport, you can actually use that panic button facility where we would be able to support you and help you. So all that is there, and I'm sure with our community policing initiatives and the kind of outreach we have here in Calcutta Police, I can assure you that the crime graph is going down and down every year. It's not going up, and it will continue to go down, I'm sure. So regarding drug addictions and other problems which you spoke about, we run a program called Shuddhi, where the drug addicts, they are rehabilitated. They go through a de-addiction program, and we also try and provide some kind of small jobs to them. And it's been a fairly successful program, which is being run for the last few years. And I'm sure with times to come, we would have major successes as far as this thing is concerned.
Absolutely. We'll take one last question now. We are pretty long on time. I will take ma'am and I don't know your names. And just identify yourself if you can, and just I'll request you to be very short.
Very, very short. I'm Dr. Rahuna Chakraborty. I am a principal of a government college. Out here, the problem is it won't affect much people, but where I regularly travel through Sialda. My car takes me to Sialda. From there, I go to Koldani Vishwavidyalaya. But the main thing, what I would like to draw, this is one point, another one I will say. This road, the most, a purposeful sin is driving down to that Sialda. What is happening every day, inch by inch, Metro Rail is putting the barricade. You have the Sialda court also. Lawyers are facing it. And in the morning, what is happening, you are all aware that all the vegetable vendors and all, they exchange. So that garbage is there. This side, the taxis, the autos. So we don't have, and the people, even if you give them a cordon, they never listen. I will not bash up anybody. I'm only scared people will bash my car up, like that is the only thing which I fear. Please, sir, do something about this Sialda station. Commuting to that thing every day is a havoc. That is one point. I think your lady is there. Another thing is this.
Lady doesn't look after this.
Oh, lady doesn't look after. Okay, then whoever looks after. It's a menace. And another thing which is, I must say, thankful to the police, Lal Bazar especially, because Legal Aid Services West Bengal, last web, for 20 years, more than that, they are having counseling courses, which is open to the police people. And every year, we get at least 10 to 12 people, right from Suman Bala DIG to the constables, every steps where law, psychology, sociology, and physiology is taught with the lawyers and high courts and all. So if anybody, and sir, so they come to this counseling course. It is affiliated to Calcutta University. The classes are taken place in Lord Sina Road, and there is a behavioral change. I'm there as an assistant director over there, beside my academic. So I must congratulate. So please keep that up. So that is
Absolutely,
very good.
absolutely, ma'am. Just
Thank you so much. And Rupesh, you must take note of this.
Just give it to this young boy. He's been.
Good evening, sir. I'm Zamir Raswani, membership number GV34. Sir, earlier this week, my car was wrongly prosecuted and I received a case on my phone. And on the last line, it says, pay the fee within 7 days or there'll be legal action that's going to be taken against you. So I said, I'm not going to have a problem. I checked online. I thought there'll be an image, but there wasn't any image of my car either. So what I did was I emailed the case inquiry team, which is what is supposed to be done. And after 2 days, they replied to me saying that, we'll get back to you in due course of time. Now, I don't want to be having any legal action against me, so I've paid this 500 rupees. What is the right procedure? What should one do in such a scenario? And should people be charged, or should there be a fee when there's no proof of the car being at that particular place? Like, I was charged at Prince Anwar Shah Road, my car was in Lord Sinha Road. I did not take it out that day at all, and there was no image. So these are my two questions. One is, what is the right course of action to be taken? Because it's one person is saying to reply, and they're going to reply to me in due course of time, and the other, there's a deadline of 7 days. And the second question is, when there's no image or there's no proof of the car being there, should we be prosecuted in the first place? Thank you, sir.
I think this issue, I think off late, we do try and keep an image, especially the contactless prosecutions. But many a times it happens that if an officer sees a vehicle committing a violation, then, on the basis of the number plate, he doesn't have the time or possibly he can't even stop that particular vehicle, then he does issue prosecution. But if you have an evidence, if you sort of raise this before DCP traffic, then he should waive it off. And that's absolutely there. So you can send a mail and tell him that this is what it is, and he would waive it off.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful session. I mean, my personal thanks to each and every member of Tollygunge Club, and for the wonderful questions that have come up from the audience. Tollygunge Club has definitely lived up to its reputation as one of the best clubs in the world. That's what I personally feel. And thanks to our Commissioner, Vineet Goyal, who has been very, very patient in answering all our questions. He took my questions, which he seldom takes, and he took questions of everybody. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Goyal, for being with us, and I hand over to
Thank you, Tolly.
Sanjay.
Thank you, Tolly, for inviting me here. And it was more a feedback session for us. That is where my colleagues are also here, just to hear from you what you feel about policing in the city and how we can actually improve as far as policing here is concerned. And I think there's a wonderful feedback from you. And I'm sure with your feedback, we would try and make a difference as far as this policing the city is concerned. Thank you.
May I now request Captain Sanjeev Dheer, President Tollygunge Club, to come and give a small memento. All it rests for me is to thank Mr. Vineet Goyal and Avijit Nandi Majumdar for a totally exciting session. He told us three things. He said, don't drink and drive. He said, don't leave your digital footprints here and there. Just be careful about that. And as a true soldier, he didn't duck any questions. Compliments to you. He took each of the bullet on his chest and he gave an answer to everything. And I've been here for a year and a half. Our compliments to Calcutta Police. Thank you, sir. And thanks the audience for a wonderful, you didn't leave him. That's it.
Please don't forget to subscribe our channel and also click the bell icon to get the latest updates.